by virtue of this unity. Page 726. If everybody has got the text, we can start.
Do you want me to read?
Yes,
We have to
you can.
redo it, Yasmin, today. We have to
Oh, I
redo
see.
it, Rangadhar.
Okay. So I'll read each one. And before that, I will read out the summary of what he has said. And tomorrow we can continue with that. Because 1 week has gone by, we may not remember.
Yes.
So I'm reading out to you the summary of what he said earlier. Okay. So, in the spiritual journey of self-discovery, man comes to know that the three categories, the individual, the cosmic, and the transcendental, are really one. First, he discovers that his nature of body, life, and mind is one with nature. Nature has produced his body, mind, life, and his body corresponds to matter, his vital corresponds to universal prana, and his mind corresponds to universal mind. Okay, so his body is formed of universal matter, his vital is a small formation of universal prana, his mind is a limited individual construction out of universal mental substance. He is therefore intimately connected with the universe. Okay, then the individual too, in his eternal journey, is at first a subconscious part of nature, an atom in matter. With evolution, the individual has a mental nature and is therefore a conscious part of nature. Nearing the end of his journey, he becomes a superconscious being. Therefore, he has in him a subconscious, an inconscient, an intraconscient, and a superconscious. Then, next he sees that behind all phenomena of nature, there is a divine reality that supports all these outer forms and activities. He sees that he is the very absolute, manifested in infinite multiplicity in the cosmos. Thus, he is relatively one with nature in the lower levels of existence, but he is also one with God, absolutely on the highest levels of his own existence. The unity of the three, individual, cosmic, transcendent, is now well established in him. And he has experience of the one in the many in the one, and the one becoming the many. This was said in the previous paragraph. Now we come to the paragraph that we are reading today. Equally, by virtue of this unity, the knowledge of the universe must lead the mind of man to the same large revelation. What he has just now said, that he is one, the individual is one with nature and also with cosmos and transcendent. So Simon is saying that that will also lead him to the unity of the transcendent. Okay? For he cannot know nature as matter and force and life without being driven to scrutinize the relation of mental consciousness with these principles. And once he knows the real nature of mind, he must go inevitably beyond every surface appearance. Okay? He goes on analyzing and he realizes that he is also the transcendent. He must discover the will and intelligence secret in the works of force. Works of force, nature. Operative in material and vital phenomena. He must perceive it as one in the waking consciousness, in the subconscious and the superconscious. He must find the soul in the body of the material universe. He must find the soul in the body of the material universe, even in matter. Pursuing nature through these categories, in which he recognizes his unity with the rest of the cosmos, he finds a supernature behind all that is apparent, a supreme power of the spirit in time and beyond time, in space and beyond space, a conscious power of the self who, by her becomes all becomings of the Absolute, who by her manifests all relativities. What Srimbi is saying is that you realize not only the Purusha, but you also realize that Prakriti also is a graded thing. At the lower end, it is mechanical unconscious power in nature. Okay, mechanical unconscious power. But he discovers that there is a para prakriti, there is a shakti, the divine shakti, and that's what he discovers. That's why he's calling a super nature. Para prakriti is super nature. Behind all that is apparent, in other words, now the Sankhya philosophy is negated. The Sankhya philosophy says Purusha and Prakriti are always separate. Now he realizes that in the supramental, Purusha and Prakriti are really the same. Okay? It is, if you think of the Lord, then Prakriti is his own force, his own Shakti. And if you think of the Divine Mother, then she has the Purusha in her own being. That's what Srimba says elsewhere. So they are same. The Ardhanarishwara image of the in the temples of India. Okay? They are equal to each other. They are not separate at all. They become separate in the lower levels. Of the Absolute, who by her manifests all. He knows her, in other words, not only as material energy, life force, mind energy, the many faces of nature, but as a power of knowledge, will of the divine Lord of being, the conscious force, and the self-existent, eternal and infinite. Having discovered that he is one with the transcendent, the cosmic, and the individual, he himself is one with the transcendence and the cosmic, he now realizes that what seemed to be mechanical energy, unconscious energy in nature is really para prakriti at the highest level. That's what Srimba said. So now we go to the next one, the quest of man for God. So, Archana, if you have the text, can you read? If she is not there, then Yasmin was asking, so she can read.
Yasmin, you can read, but Yasmin, let me read this because the next I will not be able to read. I will be on the
Okay.
the
Okay.
quest of man for God, which becomes in the end the most ardent and enthralling of all his quests, begins with his first vague questionings of nature and a sense of something unseen both in himself and her. Even if, as modern science insists, religion started from animism, spirit worship, demon worship, and the deification of natural forces, these first forms only embody in primitive figures a veiled intuition in the subconscient, an obscure and ignorant feeling of hidden influences and incalculable forces, or a vague sense of being, will, intelligence in what seems to us inconscient, of the invisible behind the visible, of the secretly conscious spirit in things distributing itself in every working of energy. The obscurity and primitive inadequacy of the first perceptions do not detract from the value or the truth of this great quest of the human heart and mind, since all our seekings, including science itself, must start from an obscure and ignorant perception of hidden realities and proceed to the more and more luminous vision of the truth, which at first comes to us masked, draped, veiled by the mists of the ignorance. Anthropomorphism is an imaged recognition of the truth that man is what he is because God is what he is, and that there is one soul and body of things, humanity, even in its incompleteness, the most complete manifestation, yet achieved here, and divinity, the perfection of what in man is imperfect. That he sees himself everywhere and worships that as God is also true. But here too, he has laid confusedly the groping hand of ignorance on a truth that his being and the being are one. That this is a partial reflection of that, and that to find his greater self everywhere is to find God, and to come near to the reality in things, the reality of all existence.
So, what I'll do, sometimes difficult to make out what Shrindra is, what point he is trying to make. So, I will read the summary and then we'll go through each one, because again, the language we have to see very carefully. Okay? Yesterday, I was reading one thing, and the importance of words struck me as very interesting, because Mother says in one place in the agenda, she says that Shrindra's use of words is very interesting. And one day I saw a word in my vision. I saw a word and I liked that word, and it suddenly disappeared into light. It transformed itself into light. Okay. Now that's interesting. That's exactly what we're trying to do here. Each word behind it is a light that we have to see. And that's the reason why we stress so much upon the words that Shrindra uses. Because he puts a meaning behind each one. And unless you know what that meaning is, then we can't understand what he's saying. I'll read out the summary of what we said just now, and then we'll read the sentences. Okay? Just 1 second. Yeah. Shrindra is saying in this paragraph that we read just now, after attempts to know himself and later to know nature, man finally comes to his quest for God. In the beginning, science, this is typically true of science. Science is trying to know nature first, and finally he stumbles onto the spiritual field. That's happened to many, many scientists now, okay? Particularly after the quantum theory, okay? He has realized that. So science has become now philosophy, and philosophy will go slowly to spirituality. There are many videos which show scientists having spiritual experiences. After attempts to know himself and later to know nature or universe, man finally comes to his quest for God. This is the most enthralling and captivating occupation. When once this quest enters his life, in his awakened thoughts, he senses a greater presence than himself in the universe. Science may say that man's religion starts with animism, spirit worship, demon worship. Okay? Now, what is animism? Animism is belief in supernatural power that animates the material universe. You see a divinity behind rain, behind wind, behind the seasons. Okay, everywhere you see the divine presence. That is animism. So it begins with that. Even the savage, in the early stages of evolution, they felt a divine presence. That's why they used to worship the wind god, the rain god. Okay, they things like that. Everything. So in nature, everything is a divine presence is there. That's what Shrindra is saying. Then he's saying, but there's a deep truth behind this vague divination. Science is making fun of it, animism, but Shrindra is saying there's a deep truth behind this vague divination. Divination, animism. Animism, thinking that there's a divine presence behind all physical things. Okay. Even if ignorant and superstitious, in practice, its essential truth is undeniable. Okay? Because the divine is really there. Okay? Anthropomorphism, his belief that God is similar to man, has a truth. Anthropomorphism, I remind you, is the attribution of human qualities to that which is not human. Okay? For instance, the thinking that the divine is like man. That is anthropomorphism. And it's also like our Panchatantra and the Aesop's fables. The animals are given a human nature, and then the morals are taken from that. Tom and Jerry, for instance, is an anthropomorphistic cartoon. Okay, so anthropomorphism. So they're saying his belief that God is similar to man also has a truth. He is perceiving the reverse truth that man is essentially God. The first groping ignorance is the initial step of his seeking for God. That's all. That's what he said. First he said that he discovers that nature is also divine, and now he sees also that his idea that God is like man is a reverse actually of the truth that man has a divine nature in him. That's what he's saying. Now, having said that, we will read the para. Okay? Just one second. Yeah. A unity behind diversity. Is that the one that we have to read? I think so, no?
No, the quest of man for
Okay.
God.
Yeah, I've got it now. The quest of man for God, which becomes in the end the most ardent and enthralling of all his quests, begins with his first vague questionings of nature and a sense of something unseen both in himself and her. You see that you need food. The savage, okay, the undeveloped man, he sees that he needs food, but nature is providing food. Rain comes, and then the ground starts yielding fruits and corn and whatnot. So everything is being provided. So you feel that there is something is there, a presence which is upholding your existence. So that's what they're saying. First, vague questionings of nature and a sense of something unseen both in himself and in nature. Even if, as modern science insists, religion started from animism, spirit worship, demon worship, and the deification of natural forces. Natural forces, rain, wind, sun, okay, the moon, all these are natural forces, and you deify them, give them a divine presence. Okay? These first forms, of course, science is mocking. But science may mock, but simply saying that it is absolutely true. These first forms only embody in primitive figures a veiled intuition in the subconscious, an obscure and ignorant feeling of hidden influences and incalculable forces, or a vague sense of being, will, intelligence in what seems to us inconscient, okay? Or the invisible behind the visible, or the secretly conscious spirit in things, distributing itself in every working of energy. You see that if you may be uneducated, you may be a savage, but if you are observant, you will see in nature that there is a plan, that everything is being done according to a law and a consciousness which is hiding behind the instinct of animals, the growth of trees. Why should the trees come suddenly unless you need food? Okay. So these things you see and you realize that there is an intelligence behind all seemingly mechanical things. The obscurity and primitive inadequacy of the first perceptions do not detract from the value or the truth of this great quest of the human heart and mind, since all our seekings, including science itself, must start from an obscure and ignorant perception of hidden realities and proceed to the more and more luminous vision of the truth, which at first comes to us masked, draped, veiled by the mist of ignorance. So we need not mock the savage who feels that there's a presence, a divine presence behind all the natural forces. Wind, rain, okay, sun, the rivers, everything has got a divine presence. he has a vague feeling. Okay? It's not an experience. An experience comes later on. That's why Srivendra is calling it ignorance. Okay? An experience will remove the ignorance, but there's an intuition that there is something there in nature which is divine. Either divine or an intelligence which is doing works of intelligence. Okay. Then Srivendra is saying, must start from that we read. Now he comes to anthropomorphism. That's the other idea that is also can be poo-pooed by those who are very, very rationalistic. But man In fact, in the Bible it says, man is made in the image of God. Okay? So this anthropomorphism is exactly that. Anthropomorphism is the thing that the divine must be like us. Okay. Okay. But the statement in the Bible is different. It says that the human being is made in the image of the divine. But anthropomorphism thinks that the divine must be like us. Attribution of human qualities to the divine. Okay. Anthropomorphism is an image recognition of the truth that man is what he is because God is what he is, and that there is one soul and body of things. Humanity, even in its incompleteness, the most complete manifestation yet achieved here in the world, and divinity, the perfection of what in man is imperfect. There's an intuition, something like that. That he sees himself everywhere and worships that as God is also true. Okay? But here too, he has laid confusedly the groping hand of ignorance on a truth that his being and the being are one. Okay? His being with a lowercase b, okay? His soul, and the being with the B cap, the divine soul. Sometimes Sremda uses the word oversoul. Okay? The oversoul is a divine, and the human being is the psychic being or this individual who has got a divinity within him. That his being and the being are one, that this is a partial reflection of that. That means our existence is a partial reflection of that reality. And that to find his greater self everywhere is to find God and to come near to the reality in things, the reality of all existence. This is what Srindra is saying. So slowly, slowly, he is going towards God. Okay? Remember the chapter, Progress to Knowledge, God, Man, and Nature. So that's exactly what Srindra is showing us. That first of all, man seems to think that nature has a divinity in it. So that's one step. Then he later on discovers that he can go to God also and he is also God. So on the way, all these things. Anthropomorphism, then animism, these are all stages in his quest for God. So now we go to the next one, a unity behind diversity. So who will read
But
now?
isn't animism true? Because both in Greek philosophy as well as in Indian, we have the god of rain, god of water.
Yeah,
So to some extent, animism is true, no?
not to some extent, absolutely true. You remember that every impersonal force in the physical world has a personality behind it. Okay, there's a wind god, and there's a sun god, there's a water god. All these gods exist in the overmind level. It's absolutely true. But man, when he's a primitive man, he doesn't realize this truth. He only feels it vaguely. That's why it is animism. So animism is ignorance, but partly true. Yeah, Yasmin, that's it.
Thanks.
Will you read?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Our unity behind diversity and discord is the secret of the variety of human religions and philosophies, for they all get at some image or some sight clue, touch some portion of one truth, or envisage some one of its myriad aspects, whether they are dimly the material world as the body of the divine, or life as a great pulsation of the breath of divine existence, or all things as thoughts of the cosmic mind, or realize that there is a spirit which is greater than these things, their subtler and yet more wonderful source and creator, whether they find God only in the inconscient or as the one consciousness in inconscient things, or as an ineffable superconscious existence to reach whom we must leave behind our terrestrial being and annul the mind, life, and body, or overcoming division, see that he is all these at once and accept fearlessly the large consequences of that vision. Whether they worship him with universality as the cosmic being or limit him and themselves like the positivists in humanity only, or on the contrary, carried away by the vision of the timeless and spaceless immutable, reject him in nature and cosmos. Whether they adore him in various strange or beautiful or magnified forms of the human ego, or for his perfect possession of qualities to which man aspires. His divinity revealed to them as a supreme power, love, beauty, truth, righteousness, wisdom. Whether they perceive him as the Lord of nature, Father and Creator, or as nature herself and the universal Mother, pursue him as the Lord and attractor of souls, or serve him as the hidden master of all works, bows down before the one God or the manifold deity, the one divine man, or the one divine in all men, or more largely, discover the one whose presence enables us to become unified in consciousness or in works or in life with all beings, unified with all things in time and space, unified with nature and her influences and even her inanimate forces. The truth behind must ever be the same, because all is the one divine infinite whom all are seeking. Because everything is that one. There must be this endless variety in the human approach to its possession. It was necessary that man should find God thus variously in order that he might come to know him entirely. But it is when knowledge reaches its highest aspects that it is possible to arrive at its greatest unity. The highest and widest seeking is the wisest, for then all knowledge is unified in its one comprehensive meaning. All religions are seen as approaches to a single truth. All philosophies are divergent viewpoints looking at different sides of a single reality. All sciences meet together in a supreme science. For that which all our mind knowledge and sense knowledge and suprasensuous vision is seeking is found most integrally in the unity of God and man and nature and all that is in nature.
Okay, so again we'll do the same thing. We'll read out the summary and then we'll go into each one. Sridhar is showing how man is slowly going towards God in various steps. First the animism, then the anthropomorphism, then realizing that there is a divine everywhere, in the ignorance even. Okay, so now Sridhar is saying here in this para, God is one, but his expression, his manifestations are infinite, the one becoming the many. That is why in the lower hemisphere we find multiplicity and even discord and disharmony, because infinite multiplicity must include contraries. The dualities come into the picture, so there is clash and so-called disharmony. This is the reason for so many religions and so many philosophies. Okay? So many religions come into existence because of the multiplicity, the principle of multiplicity, and so many philosophies. And each sees only one aspect and considers it the only truth. Therefore, the disagreements and conflicts. Remember the image of the blind man and the elephant. Okay, so One touches the flank and says the elephant is like a wall. One touches the leg and says it's like a pillar. Okay. Then one touches the tail and says it's like a rope. Okay. And things like that. It goes on. So each one philosophy is taking only one aspect of the divine. In how many ways can God be experienced? And Sri Aurobindo is giving ideas. Very often, when Sri Aurobindo starts saying something, we have to provide a question to the paragraph. Then it becomes clear as to what he is saying. So here also, I provided a question. In how many ways can God be experienced? This is my question. Okay. Then Sri Aurobindo is saying, the material world is the body of God. Second, life is a great pulsation of the breath of the Lord. He is breathing, He is life. All things in the universe are the concretized thoughts of God. Okay? Then, fourth, God is a spirit, greater than all created things. And the fifth one, God is the inconscient, infinite, vast. Sixth, He is a conscious being in all inconscient things. All these things can be experienced. Seventh, God is a superconscient. To reach Him, all else must be abandoned and left behind. The eighth way of seeing God. God is everything in the world, including sin and virtue. It needs a lot of courage and insight to confirm this conclusion. Ninth, God is His universe, a cosmic being, which is equal to pantheism. Okay? 10th, God is humanity, limited to man and the cosmos. 11th, God is a spaceless, timeless reality. He is not in universe or man. You may experience God outside the universe. Okay. 12th, God is aggrandized man. Okay. This is anthropomorphism. Then God is only power. Okay. Nietzsche and Calvin. Okay. Calvin. They are the ones who propounded theories which seemed like that God is only power. Okay. No mercy, no compassion, nothing. God is all these things. Power, love, beauty, truth, righteousness, wisdom. The 15th, God is Lord of nature. He is the Father, the Creator. The 16th, okay, so many ways of seeing God. Nature is the universal mother, the feminine aspect of God. 17th, God is a lover and attractor of souls, Krishna and the gopis. 18th, okay, man has to serve him as a hidden master. 19th, one has to see God in all men. Okay? Or 20th, or see God only in the one special man. 21, see God everywhere and be united with all his various aspects. So many ways of experiencing God. Because God is infinite, man had first to see him in all his various differing aspects. But to see him and his unity, his oneness is everywhere. One has to climb in consciousness to the highest peaks of reality. There one can see all religions, all philosophies, all aspects of the one reality, because all division and contraries cease at the highest level. Man, cosmos, and God are all found to be one single existence. This is what he's saying in the paragraph. Okay? And now we can stop today, but the next one will be the Brahman, the absolute is the spirit. So we'll make a vote. If there's any questions, then we can discuss it. So if anybody has any questions, slowly it goes. Sri Aurobindo is taking us to the experience of the divine purely. Right now, it's different aspects of him and different ways of experiencing the divine. So next time we will read the Brahman, the absolute. 728. This will do tomorrow.
You won't go through this para line by line?
Yeah, we can. We can do that.
Better if we go line by line, because you went so fast we couldn't get all those points of yours, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, okay. We'll do that tomorrow. Okay. I have given numbers to all that he is saying. So we'll go through that and identify it. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay. Au revoir, everybody. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Rangata.
Thank you, Rangata.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.